Hi there, friends. Welcome to the Being Brown and Bold podcast. I'm your host, Jess Thomas. We are excited about launching our podcast and inviting you into some interesting conversations about stepping out of our comfort zone and taking chances. So I'd like to introduce to you our guest today, which I'm really excited about. We are going to be talking to Anjali from Be Extravagant. If you are on any social media, you would have seen her work because she has got like such interesting, amazing videos out there. She's a full-time content creator with close to 1 million followers across social media. She has a successful online cooking class focused on teaching people Indian and vegan cooking. She is also a freelance content creator specializing in short format videos. So you can find her on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And she loves sharing food and her culture with personal stories. She says people love to call me Dr. Butterfingers because I'm a clumsy girl, because, oh yes, she is also a doctor. Anjali, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. As a fellow Malayali, it is even more exciting for me. It's so amazing how people are drawn to you and to your videos. You come across as so genuine, and people love both you and your recipes. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jess. I'm so honored. This is so nice of you to have invited me and to make me your guinea pig. I'm
Yes.
honored.
And you know what? That's one of the cool things that drew me to you is like you show your bloopers, and like she's a real person like me, because we're all making mistakes and dropping things and tripping, and it's awesome to find a sister just like that.
I'm the queen of the clumsy club.
At the podcast, we think names and pronunciations of our name are important. Can you tell us exactly how to say your name?
So my name is Anjali, and it's Anjali. It's not Anjali. It's not Anjali. It's not some people call me Anjali. I mean, it's fine. I don't get offended or anything like that. But it's nice to hear Anjali from time to time.
I appreciate too when people like make an effort. I think it's the making the effort that means
Exactly.
more to me, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. What does it mean to be you? Maybe you can share a little about your cultural heritage and maybe how that informs your life and your work.
What does it mean to be me? That's a question that I've been asking from my childhood, and I feel like we keep trying to figure that out. No matter how old we are, we just keep changing, right? So I don't think there's a fixed me. But what I am, what I have been until now was just, I feel, a regular Indian girl who tried to like fit into the box that society tried to put her in. And then finally she realized that that is not what she wants. and yeah, she roughly, why am I talking about myself in third person? So I have lived in India pretty much all my life until now, until I was 22, when I went to Europe in Vienna for a master thesis, and then I came back to India and applied for a PhD. I started a program, but a PhD position at a lab in France, and then I came to France, and I've been living in France for 3 years, and what I mean, so I'm like Indian through and through, from the south of India, Kerala, and now I'm a full-time content creator. I don't know how I made that jump, but do you want me to like make a connection between India and full-time content creator?
You can, and like one of the things that you're known for is your vegan cooking, and maybe you can talk more about that. Like, have you always been vegan? Is that something you grew into?
So I have not been always vegan. I used to be quite like the opposite of being vegan. Used to eat meat and all of that as a child, growing up, and I think I was in university in India, and one of my friends asked me. So I used to always like try to save animals, because in India there's a lot of, in general, like on the streets you have a lot of street dogs, animals, like stray animals, and people mistreat them a lot. So it used to really hurt me to see that, and so I used to be really concerned about that, and I used to try to save these stray animals, like get them adopted or like send them off like these dog shelters and everything. And then one of my friends once asked me like, hey, you call yourself an animal lover, right? And I said, yes. Back when I was, I think, 20 or something like that. And I said, and he said, then how would you justify yourself like consuming animal products? And it was a thing. I mean, I became extremely defensive. I said all those things that people in my comment section say right now, like meat is this, it does not the same thing. Those animals, they're treated they are different. They're not like dogs. I don't know. Like I try to justify it as much as I could at that point. Like I tried to argue, and I went back home and I did my own research. And when I did my research, I realized, oh shit, I was completely wrong. These animals are really badly mistreated. They are as intelligent as dogs, or maybe even more. And they have feelings. They some these animals sometimes don't even see daylight all their lives. They're kept in these tiny cages. Artificial insemination, overbreeding, all these kind of things, unhealthy environment. And it hurt me so much. I cried, I remember. And then I went cold turkey. I went vegan. And the problem was at that time that I knew nothing. I knew zilch about cooking, like zero. And so I was in university. I was, like living in sort of like these dorms. And so I didn't know how to cook. So I just bought like a bunch of junk every day, because now I couldn't rely on the food that you normally find everywhere that your friends are eating.
What happened? Go ahead.
It's good? Okay. And then where was I? Oh yeah, and then so I would just survive on basically Oreos and like cola and like chips and like instant ramen, these kind of things. And that took a toll on my health like very soon. Like you can imagine, I was a pretty active, university student, and I started losing my hair, and I just completely, my health deteriorated because I was not eating good food at all. I was just eating junk. So I mean, so if people think that going vegan is, I mean, is healthy, even just from the fact that you're vegan, that's not true. You have to eat the right foods, of course. Anyway, so I had to stop being vegan. My mom intervened, and she was like, no, this is absolute nonsense. What are you doing to yourself? Look at your health. It's completely, I was really completely against it, because I couldn't imagine myself stopping to be vegan. But I had to for my health, because I had no other education of nutrition. Anyway, well, after that, I stopped, and like for a few years, I just started to learn cooking. I got interested in cooking. Also, when I started living alone by myself in apartments and everything, once I finished university, I had to cook in the kitchen. So I got interested in cooking, and then I learned about cooking. I got into fitness and health. I learned about nutrition. And then finally, I think during the pandemic, like just the beginning of the pandemic, I think 2 years ago, maybe, can't even remember how long has it been.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, okay, then 2 years ago, I was watching this movie called Okja, and it's a beautiful movie, by the way. You should watch it. It talks about animal agriculture and industry, the way they treat animals. I mean, that's the basic idea. Anyway, I watched it and I cried again, and I said I need to go back to being vegan again. And this time I started social media, and that really helped me. And since then, I've been vegan, and I've been eating amazing foods, delicious foods. I don't feel like I will ever go back. I have absolutely no deficiencies. In fact, I feel healthier now, just because of the fact that, I just cook better food. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you cook delicious food, but I think what I like is that everything you make is healthy by default, almost. Like you're not trying to
I'm not
be,
trying.
yeah, you're trying to be delicious, and it just so
Yeah,
happens to be healthy, which is great.
exactly. Yeah. And
Which,
I mean, I don't really think that I need to like try actively to be healthy. When you're just eating naturally the foods that you want to, and you don't restrict yourself, you just in general tend to eat, I don't know, good enough,
mhm,
I
yeah,
feel. Or yeah, maybe it's just Indian food and vegan food. I don't know.
I think healthy also is kind of subjective in that, like,
Mhm.
do you know about nightshades, the nightshade vegetables? It's eggplant, bell pepper, all kinds of
Right.
peppers,
Right.
potatoes. So some people have like an allergy or an aversion to that, and people in my family do. So when I'm doing food and like, oh, I can't put tomatoes in here, I can't put bell peppers. So
Yeah,
those would be
allergy.
unhealthy for them.
Oh, okay. Well, I will
Yeah,
ask you more about this later. That's
yeah. look it up, nightshades. Somebody had told me this like a few years ago that they had an issue. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I looked at them like, and then I noticed similarities in my family, like when they ate certain things that were healthy, like in salads, and then they'd feel sick. I'm like, I don't understand. And then when I
Oh,
started eliminating and then they felt better, I'm like, it's true then.
oh, is it about
That's so sad.
flatulence? Is it because of
No, it's like
okay.
they can't sleep at night,
Oh,
and there's other side effects, but we can talk about that later.
okay,
But
okay,
anyway,
okay,
my
okay.
whole point
Anyway,
is like, what one person calls healthy may not be healthy. Some people say
right,
keto is healthy, paleo is healthy.
right,
Like, so I think
exactly.
it's you eat what you want
What
to
you feel
eat
best
that works
in.
for
Mm-hmm.
you, right?
Right, right.
My next question is about going from being like an adventurous, normal, expected life to taking chances and risks, because you did not always have this food nutrition path in your life. So tell us a little about that.
Okay. So I think growing up in India, uh, I always felt like women had to like act a certain way, be a certain way, and I was always told to be a certain way. I was told not to be super opinionated. I was told not to uh I was told to like study science. I mean, it's not like I was told to or like forced to. I mean, I believe that I was supposed to study science, and I was supposed to, either be a doctor or engineer, and that's just how my life would be. I would turn 25, there would be a husband, there would be like kids before I'm 30, these kind of things. But somehow it just didn't sit right with me. And as a teenager, I remember like feeling really frustrated that this was what my life is going to be. Um, Studying what I was studying, and even in university, I remember always like thinking like I want something different. This is not what I want my life to be. And I remember like long back, even like in the beginning of my university and everything, I was to be quite a pushover. Like I would, and quite a people pleaser. So I would do anything just to like keep people happy around me and like think good things about me. So I would not pick fights. I would not say things back. I wouldn't do things just for myself. But as I grew older and you know stopped worrying so much about what other people think, because as you grow older, I think you start realizing that everybody is in their own shit and everybody is worried about their own securities, and they don't really give a shit about you as much as you think they do. And as I started realizing that, i I started taking steps and started doing things for myself. Also, like I guess in general, like having financial security by yourself as well helps in making these decisions. So during my PhD, I mean, I had a salary and I had the money, so I could make decisions for myself. And so that's when I bought my camera, bought my editing equipment and all of that. I just started doing things by myself just because I could now. And I really started taking steps towards myself. Like even this change from science to content creation, it was a huge step, and I took it. It was a big move, and I couldn't imagine like ever doing that back when I was much younger, like when I was in, let's say, early adulthood, 18, 19. It was something I would dream of. I wanted to be on camera. I wanted to do things like this, but I knew I believed I would never do that in my life, that I was never capable of doing that. But now when I do it, it feels great.
What originally made you want to be in front of a camera, to do anything? Like, did you want to be a Bollywood actress? Like, what did you aspire to?
That's a good question. It kept changing. I think when I was much younger, I wanted to be an actress or something like that. But I think as I grew older, maybe it was more about dancing or like being being on TV, because that was what was the thing back then. Or being, I wished I had like a beautiful voice so I could be a singer. I don't have a beautiful voice, so I cannot sing, but I wish like I could. And then as I grew slightly older, being a YouTuber, that was one of my, I mean, I used to dream about being a YouTuber, if someone would talk about that as a career option, I was like, oh, being a YouTuber, that's not a career. Uh, I used to I mean, I would say I used to look down upon it, but actually I did not. I dreamed about being a YouTuber too. And I would act out like speaking in front of the camera and all of those things, but never worked out.
And yet, yeah, you have like 500,000 followers at least on your YouTube channel, which is amazing. So you are living the dream. And I
Living my
totally
dream.
like relate to all of that because when I was younger too, I was fascinated with media. But when I was younger, there was no such thing as internet. So it was actual TV and stuff. So even like me and my younger brother, I'd make him like get in front of our video camera and we'd make music videos together because this was what when MTV was invented and it was all music videos. So I had the same type of dream as you of like, that'd be so cool. So that's why when I was able to do things in front of a camera, it was like, whoa, I am actually like living the dream. What is happening here?
Yes.
So that is awesome. Do you ever see yourself going back to science and you're a researcher? Do you see yourself doing that in the future?
I mean, if I have to, I have that option. If, I don't know, internet is dead, like in a few years or something like that, I don't know, if the internet crashes and all the social media platforms just die out, I have that option for me. But right now, I don't see myself doing that. I just want to keep growing my business. And I want to grow it to a point where I'm not dependent on social media so much. And that I can, if social media does die out, I have a flourishing business outside of social media. So that's the end goal. So that's what I'm going to be working towards. But I don't see myself going back to research. It's just research is not, it's not for me. It's just working on one tiny little topic for all your life. It doesn't appeal to me. I've tried it. It was not fun for me.
There is a restaurant here in America. It was just voted for best hospitality by James Beard, called Karate. But the owner, it's husband and wife owner, Katie Button is the chef, but same thing. She's American, but she ended up in Europe for her master's. And then she finished that, but her stress relief was cooking. Then she was going to do her PhD and she started working in restaurants. And she's like, what am I doing in research? I don't like this PhD work. And so she like just quit it all and started to stage at restaurants and met her husband. And now she has this award-winning restaurant and she's on Magnolia workshops and TV series. So she's one of those, like, I think you're following her footsteps. So I don't know, maybe you'll end up marrying a French guy and opening this vegan Indian French restaurant. Like, and
Wow.
you don't have to,
That would be
you don't have to
so
marry
cool.
the guy though, but like the idea. Have you seen 100-Foot Journey, that movie?
Which one is it? Is it the Indian guy who goes and starts his I mean, no, he becomes a chef. He wants to become a chef. Is that the one?
His family starts an Indian restaurant in France, but there was a Michelin restaurant across the street.
Right.
Yeah.
I have. Oh, that's a beautiful
That could be your life too.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the link to the for that movie, and then I'm going to put the movie you recommended that you saw with the animal treatment. But yeah, so that's an exciting life to think, it could go that trajectory. So it's
for sure.
I wonder if you could share for people who don't understand this, like, what are you talking about? You invested so much in your education for this specific field. Like, what would you say to somebody who's doing something that they feel like they're supposed to do, but they just don't like it? But they're already invested, right? They've done so much. What would you say to people like that?
It's very complicated. And, so having 500,000 followers on YouTube is not, I mean, it sounds all nice and rosy, but it also comes with like a lot of hate and negativity, because on YouTube people are just like, they're very blunt. And especially like to India, a lot of Indians, they just don't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. They're like, oh my God, you just basically took a PhD position of someone else who could have taken it, who actually was interested in doing it. You did that, and you're on YouTube making videos about who knows what. And so people don't get it. And so the point is that it is complicated. Like you talked about the chef who is now at a restaurant. She quit her PhD. She had that option. For me, it was never an option. Like, so if you are doing something that you are not happy with, one of the things that you can do, especially if you're doing like a degree or something like that, and if you're really scared of what would happen if you quit, don't quit, finish it. I finished my PhD. I did it. Okay, if I may say so, I did quite well. And it all went quite really well. Everyone was very happy with the PhD defense, and my supervisor, I mean, we're still in contact. We're still really good friends. We meet up for dinners and everything. So it was an amazing experience. I had great friends from there. So finish what you're doing, and then start. Like, you don't feel this pressure to like quit if that is something that scares the hell out of you, or you feel that everyone's going to, I don't know, say things to you, like your parents would be disappointed or whatever. Like, for me, it was very important to finish the PhD and then start doing this. And if you feel unhappy in what you're doing, try different things, to really figure out what you want. And it's never too late. I don't believe it's ever too late to start something different. A lot of people feel, oh shit, I'm in my mid-30s. I don't know. There's people who've changed their fields in their 50s, even 60s. I've seen, like, it's fine. I mean, because you get one life, and if you never do it, you're just gonna think, oh, what if had I, you don't want to live with regrets. So keep exploring your interests and keep trying out different things. That is what I would say to young people as well, if they're listening. Like, keep exploring different fields, different things, try out new things, go out, take risks.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And if you're an old person like me, same thing. Like, I've done so many different things in my life, and I can't imagine just doing one thing forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's also a woman thing too. I feel like we're just so gifted. Like, we have so many
We're so
talents and so
awesome.
many aspects to us, right? That, we can give birth, we can raise children, we can be caretakers, we can create, we can do so many things that there are very few women I know that just do one thing their entire life. So I don't know, maybe any men listening out there can like give us their 2 cents, but I think that might be part of the magic.
Yeah, I think women are just they are multi-talented. I feel like my mom does so many different things. She dances, she does MC work, like she's a teacher, and she's so active, she's so social. Like, she's very whereas my like dad is very like, he has one interest and he does that over and over again. So I think, I don't know if it's the society that makes us think that way, but I don't know. Women in general, they're multi-talented and they can do multiple tasks at the same time.
I agree. You touched a little bit, kind of like spirituality of like motivation. Is there anything that informs like the way you see the world or the way you make choices related to any of your belief systems?
Okay. I don't, I mean, I don't know how to say this without sounding offensive to someone who is listening, but I'm not a believer, and neither do I follow any religion or anything. I mean, technically I am Hindu, but I don't feel religious at all. I was not brought up super religious either, so I don't connect to anything like that. I just feel my life is really fulfilled and happy without faith.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's totally fine. Just because there are different people I've noticed that I've been following, that like some people are manifesting things and some people are, like all different things. So there are very few people I know that follow a rigid, organized religious system. Like, even for me, like, I'm Christian, but it's not because I feel like I have to do things this exact way that this specific church tells me I have to do. And so, and especially in our state of Kerala, there's people of all religions there. That's one of my favorite things about Kerala is like, even my parents would talk about when they were growing up, they would go to their Muslim friends like Eid, and then they would go to their Hindu friends Puja, and then they would have their friends over for Easter. And there was just so much like, let's learn from each other and be like community versus, oh, you're wrong because you believe that. So yeah, yay Malayalis.
I swear that's one of the amazing things about Kerala. I feel there are all these different religions. They live in so much peace and harmony. But yeah, at the same time, I still feel like in a lot of different parts of the world, also within India, there's just so many things that happen because of religion. So many things that I feel really sad that it happens because of religion. Things like heavy topics, but like honor killings and like communal riots and these kind of things. It just saddens me so much which is like, at the same time, I do see things that religion did bring, like, things about our culture, like different festivals, food, and just, people coming together for occasions. I really like that. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to both. So I'm always like, I'm jumping between the two, like, am I for or against?
Yeah, yeah. No, totally. Tell me something that is stereotypical of like your Indian background heritage that is actually true.
Okay, that's a good one. So it's going to differ from Indians born and brought up outside of India as compared to what I feel is stereotypical of Indians who are born and brought up within India. So that's like the regular things, right? Things like, oh, you have to take up science. Parents are strict about either a doctor or engineer, these kind of things. And also like dating is taboo. All of that is true. I mean, I once got, so recently, okay, I'm jumping out of topic, but I recently got a comment from one of my followers asking, and this just shows how Indians think. She asked me, "Are you a medical student or a non-medical student?" So you're either medical or you're non-medical.
There are two kinds of people in the world, and those are the only two.
Exactly. So I was like, wow, so Indian. But one of the things that is quite stereotypical and it's true is cows on the street. I don't know if this is what you intended with the question, but it's something that people thought, like, for example, when first time I went back to India for a mini vacation after I came to France, I was on the street and I never thought of this before, but I was driving and I saw a cow on the street and I was in the middle of the road. And I was like, I'm going to take a picture and send it to my French friends. And they were like, wow, we really thought that this was a stereotype and that it's not actually true. And I'm like, no, it is true. There are traffic jams because of cows on the street. It's normal, especially in the north of India. So
yeah,
that's,
I remember seeing that too. And my kids were tiny when they saw it. And I was like, wow, like it's just not normal in America to see that. So when you do see America, it, you're like,
right?
Oh, really? It's true. Okay, very important question. Do you have a curry plant or karyapla? Why or why not?
I dream of one. I wish I had one. I really, really wish I had one, but I'm just so bad at keeping my plants alive. They all die within the first 5 days that I get them. So the only plant that survived until now is the mint plant because it's just so, they're great. You don't need to give them any sort of attention. They just grow by themselves. So mint plant, great. But the rest of them, I don't know. I've had multiple plants, none of them survived. So curry plant, I don't want to kill a curry plant. So I get the frozen ones from the Indian market. That's the only thing I have access to, sadly.
So there's an Indian market. How big is your city?
Oh, it's
a bigger city.
By French standards, it's not Paris for sure. A lot of people think I'm in Paris just because when they hear that I'm in France, they're like, oh, so what's Paris like? I'm like, Paris is not the only city in France.
Yeah, anyway. But you're not in a rural area either.
No. I'm in one of the bigger cities of France, one of the top big cities of France, you could say, but then compared to like cities in the US or India, it's super small. I mean, I could get from one end of the city to the other end on my bike, just biking in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So it's not that large compared to cities, and you would think. But yeah, in French standards, it's a big city. So yeah, there are like 4 or 5. I mean, Indians are everywhere, right? So there's like 4 to 5 Indian shops. I mean, I wouldn't call them market because they're not as large. They're small Indian shops. Yeah. But I get the things that I want from there, so it's fine.
That's bigger than us. Like I live in the middle of nowhere, but the closest city is an hour away, and there are 2 Indian small markets, and you can get most things there, but they are Gujarati owned, both of them, so you can't get like real Kerala ingredients there. Yeah, so like
that's true.
We are known for fish curry with puli, the red fish curry. Yeah. You can't get that puli. Like I got to go to Amazon to get that puli.
Same. I don't get that either.
Which puli is tamarind, by the way, for if people don't know.
Oh, yeah, right. You get the Thai ones here, the Thai variety.
Yeah.
So, well,
If you could go back in time, knowing what you know now, what would you say to 18-year-old Anjali?
oh, so many things. First of all, cut your hair. I had such long hair and I would have such headaches. My God, my hair is heavy. You know, as Keralites, we all have like a lot of hair. My hair
Mhm.
was so heavy, it was so long, and I didn't, yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful hair.
time for a haircut.
Yeah. And I used to be so worried about what people would say to me if I cut my hair, but it gave me such headaches. Anyway, well, I would tell her that, uh, I mean, I would say the same thing that I said like some time ago, like take risks,
Mhm.
stop worrying about what other people think about you. Nobody cares as much as you do about yourself. Nobody cares about you as much as they care about themselves. So it's fine. Like, do things you want to do is what I would say. I wanted to do a lot of things. I wanted to learn more dancing. I wanted to, I don't know, explore more things. I just did not. I just thought my life is going to be a certain way, so I just didn't do it. I didn't take as many risks. Another thing I would say to young Anjali is, um, oh, damn it, what's the word for it? Financial education. So my dad, he's very like forward thinking, and then he tried a lot to like get me interested in finances, you know, taxes, investments, and all of that. But I don't know, I at that time I thought, oh God, this is just so boring. But now I feel I wish I did, because I'm starting investments and everything so late in life, because I got interested now, and I wish I had started earlier, so I would have understood this better. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. Unrelated to the topics we're discussing right now, but yes, I think it's definitely important for young people.
Yeah. I feel like that should be taught in like high
School.
school
Yes. Why is
to
it
like,
not?
I don't know, because there's so much to learn. And my dad was really good about teaching me, and I watched him growing up, and like even credit cards, like why would you pay the monthly minimum and have all of this interest? Like you
Yeah.
pay it all off at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I knew that. And then I brought that into my husband's family because they're like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? What do you like you should always pay off your credit card every month. Otherwise, don't buy that. You can't afford that. But
Yeah.
anyway, lots of things like that. So that was one in our child raising. That was two things that we wanted to make sure our children knew before they left the house is how to cook, so they could one feed themselves, but then also host cool dinner parties. And
Important.
that and all three of them do that. And then two, like how to manage your finances so you're responsible and you understand what you can afford. So I think those are two big adulting things everybody needs to know.
That is great. You did so well. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, half the things we studied in school, I don't even remember them, and I don't even think it was relevant as much as I think financial education and even cooking. They should teach
Right,
that in school.
right, right. Um, okay, the other really important question: chai, tea, coffee, or other?
Ooh. Okay. Complicated question, even though it should not be. But I'm very passionate about this, because as soon as I wake up, I want coffee. I need coffee. Like I feel like coffee has its place. Uh, like with breakfast, I don't know. Okay, it depends. So for me, like my top beverage of choice is chai. Okay, I mean chai just tastes the best in the world. Chai or chaya
Chai,
in Malayalam,
yes.
right? And but when it's like with when I'm eating something sugary, like sweet with desserts, I prefer coffee over chai. But if it's like anything savory, which is like, I mean, you know, all the meals, all the savory snacks, I need chai with it, or I want chai with it. I mean, I prefer chai. So I would say top beverage of choice, chai, but I also really enjoy coffee, like good quality coffee grains that have like really good flavor notes and aroma. I enjoy that too. So I really try to buy like good coffee grains from coffee shops. Yeah. So I'm passionate about both.
I teach chai classes, and people just assume chai is everywhere all the time. And I was like, chai wasn't even like a thing in India until World War I or World War II. But also in Kerala, like our families grew coffee beans in our backyard. So our families, like a lot of them drink coffee all the time because that's what they grew. And yeah, so it's interesting. Like that's one of the things over the past couple of years I've been learning about our culture. I did not know they grow cacao pods in India. So like in Kerala
Yes.
specifically for chocolate. So when my friends is visiting Kerala now, I'm like, check out the chocolate there because I had no idea it was like such an industry.
Exactly, but it's mostly exported. It's not, I mean, India doesn't have a huge market for good quality chocolate and coffee. So all of this good quality coffee and chocolate is going outside of India. Of course, they started now because people are getting more interested and aware of all of this. Like good chocolate and coffee is also coming from India, which I never knew as well. I realized this after leaving India that there was like good coffee in India, like in Karnataka and Kerala. These are the two big growers of good coffee and chocolate.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm hoping to get to Kerala next year. So I'm like, I need like an agri tour of like these places and like taste everything and the spices, all of it. I'm getting hungry. Okay. Last question. Tell us about any projects you have coming up, things that you want everybody to know.
Ooh, okay. I don't know if I mean, I didn't think about this before, but now I'm telling everyone. It's something that I planned for this year is to create. So since I already created a beginner's course for cooking, I want to create an advanced course because a lot of people told me so a lot of people were interested in the beginner's course, but there were also this other group of people who, I mean, Indians or non-Indians who already know like the basics of Indian cooking, who are good at it, but they wanted an advanced course from me. And so that is one of my biggest projects for this year, to create an advanced course, and it should be coming by, let's say, this summer. I want it to be released by this summer, and I'm really excited for it. Creating a course is a Herculean task. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and I'm a crazy person. I do it all by myself.
Yeah.
So cameras, mics, lighting, everything. I'm there running between one camera to the other, and then they're cooking and then filming, and it takes so long, and then editing, and then just the planning procedure and everything. But I love keeping myself busy like this. So that's one of my biggest projects for this year, create an advanced Indian and vegan cooking course.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to even see down the road, like you doing some collaborations with other people and like teaching people on camera. That would be fun.
Yes, I mean, it's something I think, okay, maybe it's just the fact that I'm starting out, but it would be super cool to have like, even chefs like you, and well, I'm in France, so there's like the distance might not be that, but I know like chefs in France as well, or I don't know, other creators. I could invite them to have like a masterclass lesson from this creator or this chef. These kind of things, it would be super interesting to have these in the future. But yeah, collaborations, like you said, I'm super excited to do all of that. But at the moment, I'm a bit restricted. But
yeah,
in the future,
if you come to America, come on over and let's cook together, because I think that would be super
let's make some
fun.
nice Kerala appam and stew or something like that. I don't know.
I do a secret supper club, and I did kappa mean curry, and it was so cool because it was people from this area who had never had, they barely had Indian food. And then, I don't know if you know, but in America, most Indian food is Punjabi food. So naan, tandoori chicken.
Not just America, also
but
here.
Never Kerala food. And so they're eating this kappa, which is a tapioca mash, and mean curry is our red fish curry with tamarind. And I make them eat with their hands, and they're like, this is blowing my mind. I'm like, oh my word, this is like what I was forced to eat growing up. So it's so cool to see how people are learning and wanting to grow in their like appetite and palate.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's really interesting. I'm sure for them it must be like, wow, we thought it's just butter chicken and naan, but wow, there's like everything else that's Indian food as well. That's not butter chicken and naan.
And I don't know if you heard the first Michelin Indian restaurant this year. Sorry, the only restaurant in New York City that has a Michelin star that is Indian is called Sema, and the head chef there is Tamil. But the big thing that's popular there is gunpowder dosha. And I was like, oh, what like my dad makes every Saturday morning is like winning a Michelin star. So
okay, I was expecting something a bit more fancier than gunpowder dosha, but okay.
He does do fancier things than that. But like that is one, because he folds it in a triangle. So it's actually like cool looking. But all to say, like our food is like getting out there, at least in the West
I'm
up
happy
here.
about that.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you come to America, I definitely want to cook with you.
Definitely would love
Yeah,
that.
anything else that you'd like to share with your listeners?
Oh, you put me on the spot there.
Oh, sorry.
Eat good food, people.
Agreed. I actually have a rule. If it doesn't taste good, don't bother eating it because there's too much food in the world and you can't eat all the food in the world. So just eat the really good stuff.
Oh my God, that's one of my things. I feel I always feel like I'm missing other. I have this FOMO of like not being able to taste all the good food in the world. So which is why like if I can't go to like a different if I can't taste a cuisine that they don't have a restaurant here in France, like I would try to learn it and I would try to make it by myself because I want to taste them all. I want to do it all. Life is so short.
Yes.
Even Indian food, there's just so much
from all over.
All over the country. You just don't have enough time.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed. Thank you, Anjali, for joining me. This has been so fun. Yes, I hope that we will see the advanced course soon. I will have all the links of the things we talked about on our webpage. So everybody, I'm glad that you got to join us. And yeah, we hope that this was inspiring for you, that you would take chances to be bold, get out of your comfort zone, and live life to the fullest. Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye.